Sometimes you gotta do that. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. When I did it, I was fucked up, fucked up, fucked up, fucked up. I was fucked up, fucked up. I hit rock bottom, but I made no excuses. My behavior on that video is inexcusable. I take full responsibility for my actions in that video.
Now you see now, you done fucked up, you know that, don't you?
I'm not going to call P. Diddy a bitch. 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 P. Diddy a bitch.
Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah. Sean Combs is a bitch. They bitches too. Sean Combs is a bitch. Bitch. Yeah. Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah.
You don't hit women when you're a man. You don't hit women when you're a man. P. Diddy a bitch. 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 P. Diddy a bitch.
Sean Combs is a bitch. Yeah.
I'm not going to call P. Diddy a bitch or any other name like that. But I ain't gonna stop anybody else from doing it. I'm not gonna malign them. P. Diddy a bitch. 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 P. Diddy.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Daily Vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur. You can also follow me on X at DGoddess27. And as per usual, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay, so let's get ready to get into it. All right. Hold on. Panther Strike said Queen went overboard on this one. All right. Shout out to Panther Strike. Hey, Sandra, Claudette, DJ Big Six in the house, April. Okay, let's get into it. Troy. All right. Darius, Desmond. Hey, Des. All right. Jeff ATL. Okay, so with that I've been said, everyone please hit that like button. Okay, that's how you can support the stream absolutely for free. It doesn't cost you a thing. And you know this is the channel where they give out free memberships. So the least you can do is get those likes up. Thank you in advance. Hey, Cyrus, Pretty Wings, All Hell Nah, Priscilla, Jeff ATL. Did I say you? Okay, so let's have a brief word from our sponsor at 12 Tribes before we get it started.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes oil for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so let's get into it. Now listen, first of all, we're going to talk about Diddy and the upcoming trial. Okay, so they're not done with jury selection. The judge has in fact delayed it until Monday. Now, mind you, Monday is the 12th, and that's when opening arguments are supposed to start. So the question becomes, are they still going to have opening arguments on Monday? Well, they're supposed to. We're going to see how it all works out, because what the judge is saying is that on Monday, they need to get to court early, like at least an hour early, so they can get done with jury selection and then go into the opening arguments. But I'm not sure they're going to be able to pull that off, because it sounds like a stretch. Okay, it sounds like they're cutting it close. So there is a possibility that the opening arguments will be delayed. Okay, but let's talk about it. And here's another thing. I just want to remind you all, just remember you heard it here first. The defense has revealed their strategy as to how they're going to go at Cassie during cross-examination. And, you know, I already told you that they're going to treat her like she's an unindicted co-conspirator. Okay. And they're going to say that she was complicit and that she was hitting Diddy too. Because remember, I told you all that Chopper, okay, and Roger Bonds both said that Cassie put hands on Diddy, and sometimes she was the aggressor, because there was one occasion when Diddy was in the front seat, she was in the back, and they said that she swung over the front and hit him. Okay, so anyway, they're going to bring all of this out just like I told you all, okay, because they've already told us their strategy. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Diddy trial updates. No jury yet after surprise move in federal trafficking case. So final jury selections are on hold in Sean Diddy Combs' ongoing criminal trial as opening statements get closer. Now, after a brief recess in the high-profile legal proceedings on May the 8th, attorneys for the embattled hip-hop mogul and prosecutors returned to court on May the 9th, only to go into another recess. Now, they're having a difficult time seating jurors. There are some people who are wanting to back out at the last minute. There was even one guy who said that he was watching Star Trek or Star Wars and being lazy, and that's why he didn't even finish the jury questionnaire. Okay, that's all crazy. But anyway, let me continue. Now, the formal selection of the Diddy jury will be pushed to Monday, May the 12th, after concerns emerged that potential jurors might raise issues over the weekend. Attorneys on both sides are tasked with whittling down the selected jury to 12, and these will be the final jurors who will sit for the trial alongside 6 alternates. Now, during the interview process, prospective jurors were repeatedly asked if they or a family member or a friend had been a victim of assault, harassment, or domestic violence, and whether they or a loved one had been charged or accused of any crimes. Now, they said one man was struck today, mind you, because they said he was caught lying on his questionnaire. And in fact, they found out he had a whole lawsuit against him. Okay, now ahead of the trial's kickoff on Monday, I keep saying Monday, on May the 5th, Combs confirmed that he turned down a potential plea deal in the case during a final pretrial hearing on May the 2nd. Now, to avoid having to press restart on the entire jury selection process, both legal teams and the judge agreed to finalize the group of people who will help decide Diddy's fate on May the 12th, plucking them from a pool of 43 who have made it through rounds of intense questioning. And, you know, some of these people are clearly lying, and some of them have gotten caught in lies. Some of them, unfortunately, won't get caught in their lies, okay? So court will begin an hour early on May the 12th to accommodate the selection process and opening statements, which are still slated to begin that day, like I told you. Now, this comes from the jury pool after the jury pool was narrowed to 45 candidates across 3 days of questioning. Okay, so This case is taking a lot of twists and turns. And, also the prosecutors, since they say they're not sure what victim 3 is going to do, they haven't been able to reach her or the attorney as of yet. So now they're talking about a victim 5, okay, a 5th victim that they claim just might testify. And now, mind you, this person, I do believe, is someone that the judge initially said wasn't going to testify. Remember when I told you they named a few people, or they gave the judge like a number of people they wanted to testify, and the judge said some of them couldn't and they only chose one? Well, now they're desperate. Okay, so now they need anybody they can get. Diddy trial prosecutors reveal victim 5. The list of alleged Diddy victims involved in his trafficking trial is expanding because we've learned that the feds also have a witness they're calling victim 5. Prosecutors buried the existence of a 5th alleged victim in legal documents last month, but victim 5 just came up in court Friday as Diddy's trial proceeds. Now, this person's identity is still unknown, but that could soon change because Judge Aaron Subramaniam ruled on Friday that the 5th victim will not be granted any, the use of a pseudonym. They're going to have to say who they are at the trial. So according to the documents obtained by TMZ, the feds appear to be introducing this potential witness as evidence that Diddy committed an S-act or an act of sexual misconduct in the past, which he's not being charged for in the criminal case. I'm going to tell y'all right now, this is not good news for the prosecution. Like, what are they doing? See, I want you all to pay attention. I want you all to pay attention because this 5th victim was not initially involved in the case. Now, what did I tell y'all about them getting people who are not initially involved in the case and then bringing them in to testify about assault specifically? What did I tell y'all? That's prior bad acts. That's the same thing that Harvey Weinstein. I keep reiterating that because it's important to let you know that this type of stuff, even if Diddy's convicted, could cause the conviction to be overturned. Diddy's legal team tried to keep this alleged victim's story out of the trial, but Judge Subramaniam is willing to allow at least some of the testimony. As for the other 4 alleged victims, Cassie has long been established as victim 1, and there are concerns that victim 3 may not even show up in court to testify despite a subpoena. Now, in court filings, prosecutors have said victim 2 is expected to deliver anonymous testimony about financial losses, dependency, and social isolation that she experienced during their relationship, all of which made her more vulnerable to his coercion. The feds also say they have a 4th alleged victim, a former Diddy employee who has alleged to have been coerced into sexual acts. Okay, so we already knew about victim 4, but this 5th victim, this is just somebody that's clearly come up out of the woodwork. Okay, please pay attention. Now I'm going to go to a report, and then we're going to go to what Mark Garagos had to say because I found this video. Now, mind you, of course, the judge told Mark Garagos to stop talking. Of course, the judge told Mark Garagos to stop talking about the case, but this is a video from like 6 days ago before the judge went in on him. And I really want you all to hear what he has to say.
Combs, a judge suddenly decided to postpone the seating of a jury, which was supposed to happen today. That will now occur on Monday. We're also getting a preview of the strategy Combs' attorneys plan to use when opening statements do begin next week. Eyewitness News reporter Darla Miles live this afternoon outside federal court in Lower Manhattan. Darla? Sandra, that was the plan today for prosecutors and defense attorneys to finalize the jury, but they lost 2 people before the process even started. The first was a 38-year-old woman from Putnam County who has emailed the court since Wednesday expressing concerns about serving on the case. The other one was a man from the Bronx who was disqualified for falsifying his jury questionnaire. Now, again, this process of selecting 12 jurors and 6 alternates for the trial, the second sex trafficking and racketeering trial for the 55-year-old media mogul, the ones who will ultimately decide whether he spends the rest of his life in jail or if he's acquitted of these charges, has been an extremely tedious process. What will happen Monday morning is that the remaining pool of 43 qualified potential jurors will arrive to federal court at 8:30 a.m. Defense attorneys will strike 10 people, prosecutors will strike 6 people, and then they will go right into opening statements at 9:30 a.m. This is the thought behind this. The federal judge thinks that selecting the final jury right before court begins will prevent losing other jurors who have had the weekend to think about it if they were selected today. Now, the attorney for Cassie Ventura was in court today, and the parameters surrounding her testimony were discussed. Attorneys for Sean Combs plan to argue that their relationship was mutually violent and there was no coercion. But federal prosecutors do not want to allow any testimony about unrelated acts of domestic violence or physical abuse. Again, we also know that Cassie Ventura is in her 3rd trimester, so discussing frequent breaks for her during her testimony this morning. That was discussed. She will testify for about 90 minutes and will be allowed a break. As for Combs, again, the big question is how he appears in court. Well, today he's wearing again navy sweater, white collared shirt, navy slacks, and was in good spirits because he was able to kind of converse with a small group of supporters who came to court to support him today. That's the latest for now. Reporting live in Lower Manhattan, Darla Miles, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Here is
Okay, so with that all being said, let's go to Mark Garagos in just a second. Cookie says, Queen, I'm not getting notifications no matter what I do. Beloved, I'm sorry. The only thing I can tell you is to send me an email. Okay, send me an email to the root of all evil 227@gmail.com. And then I'll email you the links, okay? Because some people, I send them the links. And also, listen, you guys need to double check and make sure you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you're not receiving notifications, because YouTube unsubscribes people every day from the Queen's channel. Y'all know they have me shadow banned, honey. And so with that all being said, there's like 6 people that they've unsubscribed in the past 2 days, okay? People have been emailing me about it. So please make sure you do your due diligence. Otherwise, you'll be missing out. Okay, so now listen to this. Sean Diddy Combs' lawyers plan to accuse ex-girlfriend of domestic violence at trafficking trial. So they say, lawyers for Sean Diddy Combs on Friday say they plan to accuse the hip-hop mogul's ex of domestic violence when she takes the stand in his trafficking trial. Combs has pleaded not guilty to 1 count of, okay, we know the charges. I'm going to skip past that. Now, defense lawyer Mark Agnifilo told U.S. District Judge Arun Subramaniam during a hearing Friday that he plans to show there was mutual violence between Combs and his ex-girlfriend Cassie, who is expected to testify as the star witness for the prosecution. He says, I think we're probably going to refer to that as domestic violence, okay, arguing that Ventura's alleged history of violence would undercut prosecutors' arguments that she was a victim. Okay, Ventura's lawyers declined to comment on Agnifilo's remarks. Now, Subramaniam appeared disinclined to allow the defense to introduce evidence of any alleged violence by Ventura, but said he would rule on the issue on Monday, when a jury of 12 New Yorkers is set to be finalized ahead of opening statements. So anyway, with that all being said, the prosecutors with the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office say that for 2 decades, Combs used his business empire to lure women into his orbit with the promises of romantic relationships, financial supports, and then violently coerced them into drug-fueled freak-offs. Okay, so now let's go to what Mark Agnifilo had to, Mark Garagos. Let's go to what he said just a few days ago, because I found this very interesting. I'm going to share my screen.
Sean Diddy Combs has been sitting in federal prison for 8 months, and it is a lousy prison. And I got to tell you, there is a world where people look at the indictment against him and look at the case as we know it at this point and say, wow, has this guy been overpunished to this point? But now it will begin in earnest on Monday, okay? And we're going to see whether or not the government has the ability to show charges that will have made it a huge mistake for Combs to not take a deal. Now, what's he charged with? Sex trafficking, racketeering, conspiracy, transportation to engage in prostitution. Now, I got to tell you, most of those are implication crimes, meaning that they're going to say, well, we can't get you specifically for this thing, but we know you were part of this enterprise that was doing this thing. If convicted, he could face life. He probably could have gotten a deal. He didn't want a deal. Was that right? Well, that'll be a function of who they bring in to testify. And now we have an idea. The star witnesses could very well be ex-girlfriend Kathy Ventura, right? Yeah, we all saw this horrible video, but supposedly she has more to say, other criminality. We're also hearing that a male sex worker who allegedly took part in those infamous freak-offs could testify, as well as other accusers who've already filed civil suits against Combs. So let's discuss. Let's bring in trial attorney Misty Maris to help me understand why I have it wrong about this situation from a prosecution perspective, and one of Diddy's longtime lawyers. And by the way, my lawyer, I love it. We always talk about him being like everybody else, like I don't count. You know what I mean? Like I never get mentioned. You know, Garagos is my lawyer too. Anyway, Mark, thank you for being here. So Misty, the idea of, we'll get to the witnesses, but first, just the idea that I have not been blown away by this indictment, and I don't know why he would have ever taken a deal. You're saying I'm wrong, and I don't understand how he's exposed already. Tell me.
Absolutely, Chris. I'm shocked he didn't take this deal. Even a brilliant defense lawyer like my friend Mark Garagos over there, say he can get Diddy out of the charges that he's faced with, the sex trafficking, the RICO, the transportation of prostitution. Say all that goes away. The feds still have 3 AR-15 guns with scratched off serial numbers that were found in his possession. That's a minimum sentence of 15 years. So even if a rabbit comes out of a hat and all these other charges, there's an acquittal, that is still there. And I think he's toast on that.
What about that, Mark?
Can I say two things first? Number one,
yes.
Kudos for last night. Your town hall was actually 2 nights ago was outstanding. Reminded me
Thanks.
of the CNN NAFTA one from the early 90s. That's number one. Number two, Misty, and I'm going to represent you here. I take a little offense about you rarely have somebody smarter or better looking than you on this show. And I guess that's why
Smarter
I'm a regular.
and,
but stop
smarter
insulting.
and. I said I rarely allow men who are smarter and better looking than I am to come on the show. That's what I said.
Yeah, which explains why I'm counted as a regular. So I'll let that just sit there. But let's talk about Diddy for a second. The ball game here is really the RICO action, the so-called enterprise. And the biggest problem the defense has got, but I think they're going to be able to convincingly show a jury, is that this video, which apparently everybody in the world has seen of Cassie in the hallway, when you break it down, and when you see what the evidence is, they're going to that video is not what he's being charged with. What the prosecution is doing here is reinventing history. They're rewriting history. They're saying, no, that was not a domestic violence situation where the statute of limitations expired. And yes, it's horrible. And yes, it was a misdemeanor. And yes, it was in LA County. But we're going to now say 8 years later that was really had something to do with sex trafficking. And I frankly think that's going to be a bridge too far. I don't think they're going to have the evidence to show that. And I would imagine that Cassie is not going to say that. I think you're also going to see witness after witness say, I never went to the police. I didn't do anything in this case, at least in Cassie's case, until I got on the eve of the Adult Survivors Act. And then my lawyer crafted this whole theory. And that's when I got paid. And by the way, that's when the Southern District decided they're going to criminally prosecute based on a civil lawyer's complaint. I think that is what this case is going to come down to.
So cogent, but I must say, I am very impressed that you did a very interesting dodge. You complimented me. You complimented News Nation. You told me I'm good looking. So now I'm like only 5% paying attention to anything else. And then you go eloquently through everything but what she said he's going to get nailed with for sure, which is the weapons that were in his possession with the scratched off serial numbers, which you neglected in your beautiful exposition.
Yeah, because I think that you're going to find that that is not a charged offense that is going to stick to him, and I'll just leave it at that. My belief is that that's actually, from my standpoint, the least of his worries at this point.
How can he get away from that, Misty?
I don't think he can, because it's so crystal clear, and to the extent that they were in his possession, which is my understanding thus far, that is something the feds are just going to have lingering over his head. Even if everything works out your way, you're just, there's no way to wiggle out of that. It's as simple as they're in your possession, they have the scratched off serial numbers, 15-year minimum sentence.
Yeah, there's constructive versus actual possession, and there's all of the law that is transpired in the last 20 years that basically, when the guns are in your house, you're not going to get that far. So if I'm ranking my biggest worries or prognosticating my biggest worries, that's not it.
Okay, so I want you all to pay attention to that, because I spoke to you all. I believe I'm one of the only YouTubers that mentioned the guns and how that would play a role in the trial. Okay, the guns with the serial numbers removed, scratched off or whatnot. Here's the thing. They were in Diddy's house, but so were other people. When they did the raids, Diddy was not at home. Diddy was at the Opa-locka airport. His sons were there. Okay. There were some security people there also, if I recall. And Diddy could argue, his team could argue, those were not Diddy's guns, that somebody brought them in the house. So how are they going to prove that they were Diddy's, is all I'm saying. And I believe that's exactly what Mark Garagos is saying, even though he's not coming out and saying it expressly, okay, because basically he probably got the information from his daughter or Diddy's team. Okay, please pay attention.
All right, well, we'll see. Let me ask you something else. Monday, jury selection. Mark, are you first? Who is the right type of juror for the defense? And then, Misty, you give me the flip on the prosecution.
One of the misnomers about these trials is that somehow the judge has to find people that have not heard about the case. That's not the law. That's not the standard. And frankly, in New York, the idea of finding people who have not heard about Diddy or this case, if they're telling you that, 90% of the people that I run into have heard about it, and the other 10% are lying. Jerry Spence I used to discuss with him many years ago, the idea of somebody who says, I presume that he's guilty, but I can set it aside. That's somebody I might want to go for first.
Misty, who are they looking for, the prosecution side?
Listen, if I'm the prosecution, I want prudes. Keep in mind, the freak-offs are going to be a central part of this case. So I want people, I've been in a monogamous relationship since high school. I've never been to a strip club. I don't, I don't like anything that has to do with that, because I want them from the prosecution side to come in, look at those freak-offs, already have the it factor or the ick factor, so that they can take it to the next level and show how it actually violates the law. So that's what I'm looking for on this jury.
Well, if New York City is known for one thing, it's a high index of puritanical people. All right. Thank you both very much. I know, right? That should be Gomorrah. All right, Mark, thank you very much. Have a good weekend.
Okay, so with that all being said, how many of you feel some type of way that they're having these six-pack of white women as the prosecution? How many of you feel some type of way that they have this six-pack of white women as the prosecution? Because I do. Okay, because I do. I don't know why, but I just do. Something about that doesn't sit well with me, okay? And I believe it doesn't sit well with Mark Garagos. That's why he brought it up. But here's the thing. I think that the feds, I think they were lying. Okay? I think they were lying about victim number 3. And here's why. Sources told TMZ that victim number 3, who's one of Diddy's exes, has never cooperated with the prosecutors and made it clear that she didn't want to testify from the get-go. According to the indictment, the person in question is an alleged victim of S trafficking, supposedly. Now, they said this person never cooperated. So if the person never cooperated, why did the prosecution say that they basically, she was going to use her real name, that she wasn't worried about using a pseudonym? Okay. But now they're saying she never was cooperating with them. So were they lying? And now they come out with this victim 5. And who is victim 5? Who is this random phantom victim that's now come to surface? I wonder if it's the person who says they were dangled over the balcony. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, Battle X says the Fed's case is very weak. Diddy was overcharged. Yes, beloved, I've been telling you all that from day one. I have been telling you all that from day one. And Cyrus says race is going to be played. Exactly, beloved. I absolutely agree. Okay. So, and that's why those prosecutors got so upset when they watched the podcast, Two Angry Men, and they saw, or they heard Mark Garagos call them a 6-pack of white women, because they know that when Black folk hear that, and even some white people, it's going to be like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? That seems a little bit racist. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, with that all being said, we're gonna see what happens, but they're supposed to be starting opening arguments. Still is supposed to happen on Monday at 9:30. So everybody, please tune in, because I'm definitely going to be covering that live. Okay, I'm definitely going to be covering that live. I have somebody that's boots on the ground, like I told you all, and we're going to be getting the scoop. Okay, so we'll see how it all goes. So now let's talk about the real reason I'm here. And that is Mr. Shedeur Sanders. Okay, because Tom Brady has got caught in his lies. Skip Bayless dropped receipts. And Tom Brady, whom I've never liked, okay, he's nothing but a liar. And he sat up there and sabotaged Shedeur. And he wants to skin and grin in Dion's and Shedeur's faces and act like everything's all gravy. Okay, but please pay attention, because he got called out with receipts. Okay, so let's get into it. Now, first, I'm going to play what Tom Brady said with his lying R's. Now, I'm going to use an overlay because I don't have permission for this video. Okay, here we go. Lights up, please, everybody. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of music just to be on the safe side. Y'all know how ScrewTube is, honey. Hold on.
Shedeur Sanders. What happened, Tom? Why did he go so late in the draft?
And there's, it's a good question. I wasn't a part of any evaluation process or to
Skip Bayless
see
says
that.
otherwise.
No. Well, everyone's got every, that's the problem with media, is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want and get away with it.
Crazy.
It's kind of unfortunate, because there actually used to be a lot of integrity in media.
Yeah.
And there's way less now, because everyone needs crazy voices to get heard. And it actually probably hurts a lot of relationships, which is not the goal of, broadcasting. It should be to develop and cultivate and solve problems. And rather than the critiques, I want people to offer solutions all the time. So nobody knows. And I actually texted Shedeur, because I know him very well. And I said, dude, like, whatever happens, wherever you go, like, that's your first day. Day 2 matters more than the draft. I was 199.
Yeah.
So who could speak on it better than me? Like, what that really means. Use it as motivation. You're going to get your chances. Go take advantage of it. So everyone makes, like, I remember like when they were talking about Aaron Rodgers sliding, and Aaron slid to like 21 in the first round or whatever it was. I'm like, dude, you're the 21st pick in the first round. I think they still think you're pretty good. You know, like you're still a great player. You're a first round pick in the NFL. There's only 32 of those guys every year. So use it as motivation. Like wherever you end up going, you still have it's about your performance. Like, what do you do when you get there? Because you're going to get there. I was around some of the best players were undrafted free agents. You know, they were Rodney Harrison. Like Rodney Harrison wasn't a high pick. Like he was Julian Edelman wasn't a high pick. Wes Welker wasn't a high pick. Danny Amendola, all those guys were phenomenal players. So what's it matter? Like other than some overhyped day where a lot of people are selling stories and saying, all right, this is the big day and this is the draft. And it's an important day and it's fun. And I love, you know, watching it and seeing it. But like I've also been there on day 2 and they got to show up and actually learn a playbook, be a part of a locker room. And there's a lot of growth that needs to happen.
I want to ask one more question about Shedeur. How do you see him fitting into the offense in Cleveland, and what does he have to do to prove himself in that organization?
Yeah, he's got to show up every day. And what I say about leadership, you got to, as a quarterback, you have to be a leader. And to me, the leader is, do I care about my teammates? And do I care about what we're trying to accomplish? Like rules 1 and 2. And I would say that to every quarterback that I ever come across. And if they're listening, do that because that's what's endearing to your teammates. Yep. And you're not just appealing to your 22-year-old rookie. You're appealing to the 32-year-old veteran who's trying to get the last couple of years out of his career. You're appealing to the coach who doesn't want to get fired. You're appealing to the owner who's made an investment in you. You're appealing to the staff who are all their lives are riding on the fact that you need to perform well. So like the only thing that mattered to me over time were my teammates. Like, did they feel like I gave them the best chance to win? When I got in the huddle and we were down and I said, come on, let's go. You know, it's time. They rose to the occasion.
Hey guys, if you like that clip, hit the subscribe.
He's full of crap. Please pay attention. He is full of it. And let me say this. I'm pulling up the next video. But before I started to play it, let me just say this. First of all, Tom Brady is full of crap, okay? And here's the thing. The other day when I was talking about this, now y'all didn't correct me, men in the chat. None of you all corrected me when I made the mistake of saying that Tom Brady was part owner of the Giants, okay? He's actually part owner of the Raiders, okay? But Dion Sanders had verbally spoken publicly and said that he wanted Shedeur to be drafted by the New York Giants, okay? And but here's the thing. Tom Brady is part owner of the Raiders. Now, why didn't he pick them? Why didn't he have them to pick him? And he said, oh, I didn't have anything to do with the evaluation process. He's a damn lie. And I'm going to tell y'all something else. So the other day I told you all that they gave Shedeur the number 12, took the number 2, gave it to someone who never worn it, and then put out this fake story, lying, saying that basically he ditched number 2 so he could have the same number as his mentor, Tom Brady. No, the hell he didn't. He didn't ask for number 12 and say, I don't want number 2. That's not how that went. And here's the thing. Even though he gracefully told a friend of Dion's, and somebody who's on his team, he basically told him that they could give him number 99. It doesn't matter. He just wants to play. But he didn't specifically request the number 12, Tom Brady's number. They only did that because they want people to give Tom Brady the credit rather than Dion, because Tom Brady was his mentor. But also because they know that Tom Brady sabotaged him. Okay, and that Tom Brady said to pretend the whole damn lie. So to put out the story, a fictitious narrative that Shedeur requested Tom Brady's number makes it seem as though Tom Brady didn't do anything wrong. Do y'all get what I'm saying? Trying to cover the zaddy of it all. Okay, because that's who they want Tom Brady to be. They want him to be Shedeur's zaddy. Okay, so please pay attention. Tom Brady's a whole damn hater, and I never liked his ass, and I specifically don't like his ass now. He is a snake. Okay, he is a snake. Please pay attention. not to be trusted.
Brady has called me out. I guess he's called me a liar. So I'm about to call BS on Tom Brady because, Tom, you know and I know everything I said about you and Shedeur Sanders is obviously exactly right. I said on the Skip Bayless show, and I tweeted several times, that Tom Brady obviously played a role in the Raiders passing on Shedeur Sanders 7 times in the draft before finally Cleveland took him, as you know, early in the 5th round. 7 times the Raiders passed on Shedeur Sanders. Yet when Tom Brady was asked on the Jake Paul podcast why Shedeur fell so far, he stammered for a second. And then he said, that's a good question. And then Tom said, I wasn't part of any evaluation process or to see that. I guess meaning that he wasn't at all a part of the Raiders draft process, so he wasn't privy to any inside information about why Shedeur fell so far, so fast. Really interesting. So soon after Pete Carroll took over as Raiders coach, he said, we're going to build this team up around the quarterback position, and we're going to lean on Tom as much as we possibly can. Smart. Then there was this from the new Raiders general manager, John Spytek, who said, when we are looking at a quarterback, we'd be a fool not to involve Tom. Well, obviously you'd be an absolute idiot not to involve Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr., the greatest quarterback ever.
Only 12% of women-owned firms actually surpass $100,000 in annual revenue. I'm going to show you how to land a single corporate client that can replace the revenue of 50 small business clients. Instead of focusing on small clients or serving individual consumers, you actually want to aim for corporate clients.
I had the call with the CEO and I was like, we can either do a 6-month retainer or 12-month. And she said, let's do 12. And it was a 90.
I mean, we're talking about the GOAT, who's now a Raiders owner. And not only that, but Tom is close friends with Mark Davis, the majority owner of the Raiders. And he's also very good friends with John Spytek because they played briefly together at Michigan. And then Spytek was an executive at Tampa who actually helped get Tom to Tampa, where he obviously, after he got kicked out the back door in New England, went straight to Tampa in the pandemic year and took a 7-9 team to a Super Bowl championship. Spytek was a part of that. And most important to this question is that Shedeur Sanders became the most debatable player by far in this draft. I've been doing this, covering the NFL for almost 50 years. I think he was the most debatable lightning rod player in the history of the National Football League draft. I said he was the best quarterback from the start before the college football season started. Mel Kiper ranked Shedeur 5th overall, 1 slot ahead of Cam Ward. And then a whole lot of people out there didn't like Shedeur. I'll get to that in just a moment. But I considered it a strength of Shedeur's that since he was in high school, it may go back before that. You'd know this better than I would, Tom. Tom Brady mentored and coached Shedeur Sanders all the way up through high school and into college and through college. Mentored and coached. Nobody out there outside of Shedeur's family knows his game and his nature, his tangibles and his intangibles better than Tom Brady. So we're to believe that nobody in the Raiders organization at any point in time before the draft said, hey, Tom, what's your opinion of Shedeur? And by the way, the Raiders did need a quarterback desperately badly before they went out and acquired Geno Smith. But my point is, at no point, neither Pete Carroll, nor John Spytek, nor Mark Davis said, hey, Tom, give us your take on Shedeur. Stop it, Tom. Quit lying to us, Tom. Quit dodging the truth, Tom. I'm just going to say it. I'm calling bullshit on you because that's utter bullshit. The Raiders would be fools if they didn't ask you your opinion of Shedeur. And obviously, as I'm about to detail, you said no to Shedeur because they did pass him 7 straight times with 3 picks in the 3rd round and 2 in the 4th round. They just passed and passed and passed. I don't know exactly what you didn't like about Shedeur, but you obviously vetoed Shedeur. I don't know if you don't like his intangibles, the way a lot of people around the NFL thought he was just too brash and too arrogant and too spoiled and privileged and entitled and blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all. I'm still hearing it all. I'm getting it from all sides. I know it all, Tom, and I'm about to spit it all out. You've heard it all, Tom. Maybe it was the intangibles that turned you away, or maybe you watched.
Oh my God, OG Patrice, you think just like me, girl. That's exactly the first thing that came to my damn mind. And I started to go look for that clip to actually show it. But I knew I'd get a copyright strike even if I used an overlay. But OG Patrice says Brady did what Sandy Duncan's role in Roots did to Kizzy. Exactly. Exactly. And that is what my stepfather, when I was a child and saw that part of Roots, my stepfather told me then that these people are not to be trusted. No matter what, you're still going to be a ninja to them. And at the end of the day, they will always turn against you specifically for their own. That's exactly what I thought about Huddy. But let's continue.
Watch him evolve as a quarterback, and you just said, no, he just can't play in this league. A lot of people thought you couldn't play in this league, you 6th round draft pick that you were. So maybe you did to Shedeur what they did unto you, Tom.
Mm-hmm.
But you obviously said no. And I get it that Pete Carroll said, going on 74 years of age, maybe this is his last gig. I don't know. Maybe he thinks it's his last gig. And he said, I need a quarterback. I know I need a quarterback who's proven to me that he can handle it. Somebody I trust under fire. And he became a Geno believer in Seattle. So you went out for a 3rd round pick and you got Geno Smith, and you gave him a couple of more years at around, what can you make, around 40 million a year? Pretty good money. And Geno's pretty good. I don't think his ceiling is nearly as high as Shedeur's, but that's just me. But you banked on Geno for a couple of years more. What is he, 34? And yeah, I'm looking at your situation even after you acquired Geno, and I'm thinking, man, Shedeur would make the perfect understudy with Tom Brady still mentoring and coaching for a couple of years. Perfect, beautiful. Like maybe 3 years, like Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. And look, I certainly understood the Raiders with their 6th overall pick saying, hey, Ashton Genty is just too rare of a specimen, just too rarely gifted a running back to pass up at 6th overall. You need that piece to the puzzle, and that's a big, bad piece to the puzzle. I'm good with it. I get it. But then here it went, and Shedeur began to fall for many various, mostly to me, despicable reasons. And so we're to believe Tom Brady that not once did you communicate as Shedeur fell. Not once did you say to Spytech, to Mark Davis, to Pete, to anybody, hey, let's take him now. So look what your team did, Tom. Look what happened. You have 3 third-round picks. In the second round, you go wide receiver. And then third round, you go cornerback, offensive lineman, offensive lineman. Okay. Fourth round, you go wide receiver. And now you have a second pick in the fourth round, Tom. You have pick number 135. It's 9 slots before Shedeur is finally going to go to Cleveland because Jimmy Haslam finally said, that's enough. I'm taking him. Maybe just to make a little splash. I don't think anybody else in Cleveland wanted him because 50 slots higher, they'd obviously already taken my guy from Oklahoma, Dylan Gabriel. That's who they wanted to groom as a rookie quarterback. And the owner who wanted Johnny Manziel, who plunged, obviously, for Deshaun Watson. He just said, we can get Shedeur Sanders. He had dinner with Dion and Shedeur. I'm sure he liked him. He might be the only right one out there, the only right-thinking brain out there. But you've got a second, fourth-round pick, and you don't just snap up Shedeur Sanders, your guy, that you had helped grow? You're kidding. Instead, you take Tonka Hemingway. You take a defensive tackle out of South Carolina. I know they were that front seven was hellacious good. They destroyed my team in Nashville this year. And I just said, we can't. We're suffocated. We can't even move the ball. Maybe he'll be great, but he ain't a quarterback, and he ain't that quarterback. And you're telling me that not once did you say, hold the phone, man. What are we doing? Not once. 7 times you passed.
I love how every single side hustle expert says the same damn thing. Start a YouTube channel, sell on Amazon, flip real estate. You know what they don't tell you? Most side hustles take forever to make real money. And if you already have a full-time job,
you obviously just didn't believe in this kid, and you should own that. You should just acknowledge it. It's okay. There's
It isn't that he didn't believe in him. It's that he was hating on him. Okay. He secretly has been hating on Dion this whole time, I'm sure. Okay. That's all that was.
There's no problem with it. That's the way I do business. Just own it. I mean, I own the fact that from the start, I said, these are the things I love about Shedeur Sanders. He's deadly accurate, led the nation in passing percentage last year, completion percentage. He's as tough as any quarterback, college quarterback I've ever watched. I've been watching college football for a long, long time. He took hellacious beatings both years. I know he held the ball too long. I get it. He was trying to, with all of his heart and all his soul, win football games for his pops, with a team that was under-talented in way too many spots, often in the offensive line. That can be cured, but the toughness can't be taught. You know that. The clutchness, God, it can't be taught. You're the clutchest ever, you know. Did you watch the tape? Did you watch him play? Maybe you were busy prepping for your NFL games. I don't know. I saw leadership. I saw sideline leadership. I saw teams feed off him at Colorado both years and at Jackson State. People blast me. I've even had friends call, what's he ever won? Okay. Well, they got to the championship game at Jackson State, turned that program around. They just didn't have enough in Boulder yet. He'll build it. He's going to win a national championship there. But his father, to me, was a strength, not a weakness. I know the NFL condemned this whole situation because of the father, and the father's going to be too involved. I've heard it all. I have been bombarded, Tom, over the last 2 weeks from all sides. I'm getting it from inside and outside.
See, this is how you know Skip is not lying. He's heard it all. You see, Skip, has the same complexion as them. So he's been privy to these conversations. You heard it. He said he's been dealing with, sports and all of that for 40 plus years, right? Or about 40 years. So he's heard it all. He's heard what they said behind closed doors, the things that the rest of us haven't been privy to. He's heard them talk about how Dion's a problem. They think he's going to be too involved. But remember, that goes back to what Dr. Umar said. They want Shedeur, they want all of these Black football players to look to their white coaches as their daddies. Okay? That's why Dion's a problem for them.
People I know, people I've known for years, I've heard it all. Too entitled. He is Shedeur. He's spoiled. He's pampered. He flaunts his jewelry. The exotic cars that he drove, Boulders, making what, $3 million a year, highest paid college athlete ever. They were the biggest draw in the history of college football. That's what they were. You want to talk about a TV draw from coast to coast? My God. The world woke up on Saturday to see what Dion and Shedeur were going to do, and Travis, obviously.
Now that I use Monday service, AI makes solving tickets my form of meditation.
All I heard was, no, he's just as interested in his rap career. What was his song, Perfect Timing, and that he's doing this, trying to promote his rap song. Got a little traction in Colorado for a while. Promote his clothing line, that he's more interested in his clothing line. I heard it all than his football. I heard all the stories. I hate to even tell them, but I'm just going to hint at them because you've heard them all, Tom. I know you heard them all from the inside. You're privy to all this. There's a story about the Giants involving you, and it could be completely apocryphal, but here's the point. This is the story that got circulated around the NFL. This is another one of those inside stories that got passed around that doomed Shedeur to the 5th round. It was something about during the interview, they had a couple, but during one of the interviews, somebody with the Giants, I don't know if it was executive or coach, asked Shedeur about you, Shedeur's relationship with you, mentoring, teaching, coaching, and somebody asked some question about, is Tom your role model? Do you try to model your life after Tom's? And Shedeur said something like, well, I don't want to model myself after his wife left him for a trainer. And I don't even know if he said that, but I've heard it again and again from too many people. And I don't know if he was trying to be cool and tell a joke or make people laugh, or I don't know what it was, but I heard that doomed him with the Giants. Okay, fine. He's still just a kid. Maybe he was trying to act cool. And then there was what he did say publicly about don't take me unless you want your culture changed. And I heard that several people up high in Pittsburgh, including Mike Tomlin, were like, okay, we're out on him now because we don't need our culture changed. We are a culture. We've had a culture from the start. We are the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I don't even know if that's true, but that's the kind of story.
Now, do you all hear this BS? So the nerve of them to ask Shedeur if Tom Brady was his role model and if he wanted to model his life after Tom Brady. Are they crazy as hell? See, this is how you know exactly what Dr. Umar said is true. Why would he want to model himself after Tom Brady's ass when Dion Sanders is his damn father? Dion Sanders is a Hall of Famer. He's the best cornerback they ever had in the NFL, period. The best to ever do it. The only person who won a World Series and a Super Bowl. Can we put some respect on his name? Talking about Tom Brady, who cheated and deflated footballs. Yeah, no, he doesn't want to role model him. He doesn't want to follow his life after him. That's what he doesn't want to do. Keep dropping the receipts, Skip. Keep telling it.
That picked up steam and grew longer and longer legs, and those legs just stamped all over Dion and Shedeur. It just made me sick because I think he's a good kid, and I think you know he's a good kid. And I know he's a hard worker. There's some video out there, I think it was distributed by the Sanders family, to promote Colorado football. It was Cam Ward. In the video, Shedeur asked Cam, hey, when we get finished working out, you want to go record, as in record rap songs? And Cam's like, what? All I care about is being a great quarterback. Okay, so NFL people are like, see, that's why you don't. I've read so many NFL I read Jarrett Bell's column today in USA Today about how 3 anonymous executives were saying, one had a first-round grade on Shedeur, the other 2 had a second-round grade. Well, he fell to the 5th round. So they're pretty much admitting, well, it went beyond football. It was personal. Yeah, it was personal. It's about all this stuff.
And here's the thing. For the ones of them that were saying that he cares more about his rap than his football, well, that's just ignorant, okay? Because it's not as if you can't do 2 things, but he spends the majority of his time on football. Okay, Dion Sanders is his father. You think Dion's going to let him be more concerned about rap than football? And not to mention, Dion had a whole rap album himself, okay? And still was the best to ever do it. So that makes no sense. These are just asinine excuses that they gave because they don't want to admit the real truth of the matter is that they're haters. They're mad about Dion. They're hating on Dion. And in doing so, they took it out on his son to teach them both a lesson. And they said that he needed to be humbled. The same thing they used to say about Dion. But here's the thing. I'm going to give you all a special treat after this, because if you all remember, I reported to you the other day that a radio host down in Cleveland was talking real greasy about Shedeur, saying that, oh, I wish he'd, if he's going to go to the school and visit the high school kids, I would prefer if he didn't post it online. It's like he's telling everybody, hey, look at me. I'm over here visiting the kids. Look at me. Now I'm training. I'm doing the good things. Yeah, he tried to act as though Shedeur is just, doing this for photo ops or whatever. But at the end of the day, or publicity. But at the end of the day, he was looking stupid, okay, when Boogie Knight, somebody on Shedeur's team, came out and said that he's the one who posted that stuff. Shedeur didn't even want the cameras or didn't want it posted. And he said this is what Shedeur has always been doing, going to meet and talk with the youth. And he posted a series of videos where he's actually already done this before. But here's the special treat I'm going to give you, because Killian Boogie Knight, I think that's his name, is Hellion or Killian, but it's Boogie Knight. Anyway, he went to that radio station, okay? He went there and did a whole interview with them, and that was addressed. So we're going to get into that. But I also am going to show you a video where this white guy says, he's a sports commentator, and he says Shedeur needs to keep his head down. What the hell does that mean? Just go there, do your job, and he needs to keep his head down. See, didn't I tell y'all that last week or days ago? That's what they want him to do. Keep his head down, bowed, okay, downtrodden, not looking up and being proud. Proud, don't walk around with your nose in the air, okay? But please pay attention. These people are so nefarious and such haters.
Are you looking to sell your house as is without the hassle of costly repairs or realtor?
So in the end, it wasn't like Brady actually called me out, because he didn't call me out by name on the Jake Paul podcast. He just said that was wrong. And by translation, of course, I'm wrong. But Tom did it with the big, broad brush. He condemned the media, took the cowardly way out. Just take me on, Tom. I don't care. I can take it because I'm right. Tom said on the Jake Paul podcast, that's the problem with media, is everyone can just say whatever the fuck they want. See, if you say the F word, then it's like, you really mean it. You're really passionate about it.
Oh,
you
right.
can say whatever the fuck you want and get away with it, said Tom to Jake Paul. And he concluded, it used to be a lot of integrity in the media. Well, I've been in the media for what was my first year out of Vanderbilt. I started at the Miami Herald in 1974, so it's been a while. I'd like to say I've had a lot of integrity. I'd like to say that I work really hard at telling the truth and backing it up. That's what I do and what I've done for these however many years it's been. I did have Dion on my show. I do know Dion. I do keep in touch with people in that circle. And I'm just telling you that the league decided to teach Dion and in turn Shedeur a lesson. And it all started when Dion was on the Dan Patrick radio show.
Now I want you all to listen to what Skip says right here, damn it, because this is what I told you all. Remember what I told you all about Archie Manning and what he did with Peyton and Eli? I told you they're mad because Dion's doing the same thing. Now watch what Skip says. Okay, please pay attention. Now these people are nefarious. Deborah says, Queen, thank you for the gifted membership. Oh, you're welcome, beloved. You're welcome. But actually all thanks goes to the people that pay for them. And you know, that happens a lot on this channel. So, and speaking of memberships, I'm going to be posting something for the members only on this channel. Actually, I think I'm going to just do a whole live because I have a treat for you all too, for all the members, and it's going to be juicy. I might do it tonight. I'm not sure, but if I don't, I'll definitely do it tomorrow. Okay, so anyway, thank you, beloved, for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings. Now listen to this. He says, this is where it all got started.
Radio TV show, obviously from Radio Row in New Orleans before the Super Bowl. And he made the statements about he might go Archie Manning on the top of the draft, navigate his son, orchestrate, tell some teams that, no, we're not interested in playing for you. We're going to go here. Just the way Archie Manning did for Eli, obviously, as he navigated Eli from San Diego to the Giants.
Now, I want you all to pay attention because didn't I tell y'all that? Didn't I tell y'all that? You heard it here first. And here's the thing. At the end of the day, when he said that, they all got together like, hell no. Who does he think he is? Okay, he can't do what Archie Manning can do because Archie Manning's white. Okay, that's when the fix was in. All right, you heard it from Skip. He just confirmed it, what I already told you. Okay, please pay attention.
And I kept hearing, you know, just too brash, just too arrogant. Both, Father, it's like chip off the old block, that this is neon Dion all over again.
Spill the tea, Skip. Spill the tea.
This kid can play. I've been doing this for a long time. He can play. But now, Tom, of course, you're part of the NFL power structure. You're an owner as well as a broadcaster. And I worked at Fox for 8 years, and I didn't appreciate the fact that you bullied them, you bigfooted them. They'd given you what was it, $375 million for 10 years, and then all of a sudden you yank the magic carpet out from under them and say, well, I also want to be an owner, which means you'll be handicapped as a broadcaster because your access will be limited to teams because you're an owner. Okay, so you did that, and yet the last thing you said that I read was about the negative media. You said, actually, it probably hurts a lot of relationships, which is not the goal of broadcasting. So wait a second. Hurts a lot of relationships. I don't really understand that one. What? So are you asking me and all those other negative media voices to protect you so that you can stay close to Shedeur and to Dion? Obviously, you can kind of fake it with them and give them that phony smile and act like everything's hunky-dory.
Now, are y'all listening to what this man is saying? Are y'all listening? He didn't want Skip. Skip is saying, so you didn't want me to say anything, so you can give him that phony smile and act like everything's hunky-dory. See, he's telling you right now. See, we need to be paying attention because what Skip is doing right now is he's letting you know how they really think about people who look like me behind closed doors. Okay? The enemy comes to rob, kill, steal, and destroy, smiling in your face, acting like everything's all good, just like Judas did Jesus. Okay? That's what Tom Brady did. He's a whole Judas, all right? Yeah, he didn't want nobody to say anything because he wants to stay in the good graces of Dion, even though he stabbed him and his son in the back. Are y'all listening? Now, Panther Strike says, you broke it down long before this, Queen. They have a problem with a black man that demanded excellence from his children, no matter how much paper he had. Exactly. And you know what else hurts their feelings? That this is not even about money for Shedeur. This isn't even about money. Even though they didn't pick him until 144th in the 6th round, he still celebrated and was just as excited. Okay? They thought they were going to break his spirit, but no, it couldn't be done. All right? Leon said, you called it, Queen. Thank you. So, you know, it's just really sad that the hatred of such magnitude still continues to fester. All right? Please pay attention.
When you did veto Shedeur to your team, 7 times they passed. And you can then say to Shedeur, I have no idea what happened. I don't get it, but hey, man, you got to stay the course. You got to do just what I did. You got to go to work. You got to get in the film room. You got to show them that they're wrong. This will be great for you. You can say all that to Shedeur and be that smiling assassin that you were. And by the way, I've said this from the start. There are always 2 Tom Bradys. Did I ever love the football killer Tom Brady? I called him Psycho Tom. He was the GOAT, clutchest ever. I've said it from the start. Tom, you were 80% of the reason that the Patriots were a dynasty. I'll give Belichick, 10% of it, but you were it. And boy, did Psycho Tom ever come out publicly one time at the end of that Brady roast on Netflix when you roasted Belichick. I mean, you emasculated him, brought down the house and the curtain right on Belichick's head that night. Loved it. Wish we could get a little of that from Tom, the NFL broadcaster, but we can't because there's that alter ego. It's aw shucks, gee whiz, nice guy Tom, wants everybody to love him. It's the broadcaster who just nice guys us all to death with your cliches and your platitudes, sidestepping the truth, trying to sort of paint everything perfectly. It's all going to be okay. I just wish you'd just tell the truth. Just let it fly. I know there's so much more inside you, Tom, that you could tell that you don't. But all I know for sure right now is this is what I hope for Shedeur. I remain a big fan, even though I'm taking a beating about this from people I know, people who say I'm wrong.
Yeah, you know why he's taking a beating and why people are saying he's wrong? Because right now, him calling out Tom Brady, right now, him dropping receipts, they are going to be saying that he broke the code, okay? He went off code. He went off script. They're going to look at him like he's a traitor because he exposed Tom Brady. He put the truth out there because he's letting people know what goes on behind closed doors, what type of conversations are held, okay? Yeah, they're definitely going to be ticked off at him about this.
Right, everybody had at least a 2nd round grade. Why did he fall to the 5th? I'm just hoping that now Shedeur Sanders will make Tom Brady look almost as stupid as Tom Brady made the entire NFL look. That's what I'm hoping will happen. And by the way, Tom,
he will.
I'm happy for you to join me on any of my shows. I'll join you on whatever platform you're on. I would be happy for you to come at me and attempt to refute every last word that I just spoke about you.
He's not going to do it.
More than welcome. You can have as much time as you want. I don't care. I will respond. But you won't because you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know that every word I just spoke was obviously the truth.
Our next.
All right, y'all heard that? Y'all heard that? I want y'all to pay attention. I want y'all to pay attention. Ring the alarm, honey. Skip just spilled all of the tea, and I'm here for it. Okay, shout out to Skip for letting the truth be known. All right, tell the truth and shame the devil, honey. These people are nefarious, and they absolutely did collude. They all got together. They were mad, bent out of shape, and butthurt, and they were determined that Dion is not going to be another Archie Manning. You don't get to do what the white man does, Dion. You need to know your place, and we're about to put you in it, you and your son. That's what they thought. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, so like I said, I haven't agreed with everything that Skip has said and done over the years, but at the end of the day, one thing I can say about him that he's always been fair. Okay, he's always been fair, and he has more integrity than Tom Brady could ever have. Please pay attention. And he's right. Tom Brady is not ever going to come on a platform and face him and try to dispute what he said, because he knows it's the damn truth. Okay, he knows that what that man said is the gospel. So miss us with it, Tom Brady, with your lying self. And I hope that Dion and Shedeur, when they see Tom Brady, they still speak to him, smile at him, but keep it moving. Don't sit there and linger having long conversations. Don't even act like you're remotely still friends with that low down dirty devil. Okay, a snake in the grass. All right, he's the one that Muhammad Ali was talking about when he said if there's 10,000 of them that are cool with you. No, he said if there's 10,000 snakes coming and 1,000 of them won't bite you, are you supposed to think that the ones that won't bite are going to wrap a shield around you to protect you from the others? Or should you just close your door? Okay, please pay attention, honey. These people are nefarious. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to this next video. I'm not going to show the whole thing, but I want you all to see this radio show host who sat up there and talked all greasy about Shedeur and then had to eat his words. But you can still see that he's hating. Okay, he's still a whole hater. Okay, please pay attention. So let's get into it.
I'm wondering what to call you, because I want your official title. It's Boog, right?
Boogie Knight.
Boogie.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I like Boogie better.
Yeah.
Can I call you Boogie?
Sure. Have it.
Boogie Knight is in studio with us. But Boog, what do you do? What your title is what right now?
Head of operations at Young Money APA Sports and Entertainment, headed by Lil Wayne. He's one of the co-founders, and then the Bush family who started Budweiser.
Sure.
So we put a company together. So I actually spearheaded that.
Okay. And that's out of Dallas.
Based out of
Correct.
Dallas.
Based
Correct.
out of Dallas. Where do you work?
I mean,
right now I know you're here.
I'm here I started in Dallas, been pretty much in Boulder the last 2 years. Jackson before that, just pretty much been all over. Tampa.
Okay, what happened? Who asked you to come be with Shedeur right now? Because explain to everybody what you're doing with Shedeur. You are what, his manager at the moment?
Hold on, guys. Deborah says, thanks to those who gifted memberships. Okay, Skip trying to be relevant for Shannon's debacle, boo. No, I don't think Skip's not even that cool with Shannon. At the end of the day, beloved, I think he just wanted to put the truth out there, and he probably wouldn't even have come out and said all of this had Tom Brady not gotten on that podcast and told a damn lie and acted like he didn't really do anything, like, oh, I wasn't in charge of evaluating. He called him out. Tom Brady called him out. So rightfully so, Skip came and responded. That's what you do. You don't let somebody come out there and lie on you, talk greasy about you in public, and you don't say anything. So he did what he was supposed to do. He came out there and cracked his face and told the truth and dropped receipts. See, Tom Brady didn't have any receipts, just his lying lips. That's all he had. Okay? But thank you for your contribution, beloved. Peace, love, and blessings. I appreciate you.
Moment or no?
Man,
what is it?
I'm a family friend, man. And
you know Dion.
Yes, very well. Dion's done a lot for me in my life.
Okay.
So when a man like that has done so much for you, for me, it's not a monetary thing. So everybody like, you're this, you're that. It's like, man, I'm just trying to make sure his kids are straight.
Right.
At the end of the day, that's the only way I can repay a man like that who's done so much for me. Like, it's not about, putting me on your payroll. I know Prime has something to do in Colorado, his family doing that. Their kids making a transition out here by itself. So somebody needs to be with him to help him
I
navigate.
totally get that. I'm Italian. We would do the same thing for one of our kids.
And
to
Boog,
make
I'm
sure
glad
they're-
you clarified this, because there were so many rumors floating around town about exactly what you were and what you were doing that I feel like I misidentified you 8 different times during this
by the way, you did.
Yes.
Okay.
So personal videographer. I mean, there were
I've
a
been
lot
the agent.
Yeah,
I've been
that's
the
right.
manager.
Right.
I've seen it all.
So, Boog, you are a family friend,
Yes,
and
sir.
you are here to make sure Shedeur not by himself.
Correct.
And where does all the video stuff come from? Because here's what people are complaining about. Usually, old white guys like me. Only this time, I love Shedeur, so I ain't complaining.
Who's coming in the driveway?
Why does he have all these camera crews? He ain't done nothing yet. He hasn't taken a snap in the NFL, and I got to watch him doing. I said, going to what next? He shouldn't be going to church. No, he's going to visit kids. He's going to schools. He's going to, he's doing community work. What is your job? To shoot that and put it on Instagram?
No, actually, I coordinate that.
You coordinate it.
So for me, I have a background in mentorship, and I'm a coach at heart.
Okay.
So for me, that's how I met, Coach Prime and Shedeur when he was in 6th grade.
Okay.
So coaching, and then from that point, it's always being able to connect dots in different avenues. So no matter what city we go to, I'm pretty sure it's somewhere that I know is there that I can get to. And Shedeur is passionate about talking to the youth. He's always been that way. He has an old soul in a young man's body. So he's always, man, let's make sure we always give back to the kids. Let's never lose sight of that. That's one thing that he's always about.
So that's important. When he came here, he came early so that he could get involved in the community.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so understand this though, Riz. He's been to situations similar to this, just not on this big of a scale. But he's been to a Jackson, Mississippi, where they weren't very good, and but they had a loyal fan base. They win or lose, those fans were showing up. So he knew that he inserted himself in that community very early, got them together, and then once he went on the field and started playing, then they was already behind him.
I see, and that's what he's trying to do here.
And then when he went into Colorado, same thing. The day that Daddy got the job, Shedeur, I'm coming with you.
Okay.
First day, he didn't wait.
Nita to Mike's World says, my grandson say hello, beautiful queen. Well, tell them I said hello, beloved. Okay, and tell them I said thanks for tuning in to the queen. Peace, love, and blessings.
When everybody else came, he was the first player on that campus in that city. He got real acquainted with the city, and then got them excited, and then he went on the field, and they built over those 2 years. So when he come here, man, same thing.
Okay,
you see how this unfolded?
See, but
let's hit the ground running.
See, but the critics will say, and actually one of them just left. You got to meet him. But the critics will say, hey, man, a lot different in the NFL than turning around Jackson State and even Colorado.
I would agree.
So they are the I don't want to speak for the negative people.
I'm sitting right here.
I know, but I don't want to speak for them. But they're like, hey, prove yourself on the field first before you start doing all this. Yeah. He's like, no, I want to do this then. But you got to, Boog, you understand, but kids got a ball.
Yes.
He got a ball. Right.
He has to. And if not,
I think he can. I've been saying it for weeks. There are people who don't think, what did you make of all that draft stuff? He doesn't have elite skills. He doesn't have a great arm. He doesn't have they took Dylan Gabriel before they took my guy. So what does that say?
It says,
I'm sure he heard it.
He heard it. We all heard it. But for him, he's unfazed by it. And that's why I always loved him, because his poise is something I've never seen before. So to understand that,
for a young man,
there was a young man who got a prank call on draft day when he just sat on the board the whole first night.
No doubt.
Somebody prank called him and tricked him. And I'm sitting over there with steam coming out my ears. And when he realized it was a prank, he just hung up the phone and just picked up his football, told the DJ, turn the music back up. And now him and his quarterback, quarterback coach is over there throwing it. I'm waiting for the reaction. I'm waiting for it never happened.
He said, we've all done foolish things, which I thought was so impressive.
Bingo. And that's who he is. So when you're speaking of, yes, he has the ball, but he's coming to the city doing what he knows how to do the best way he knows how. We don't know if he's going to ball. We don't know if he's going to be on the field for real. Because if I'm rightfully so today, Joe Flacco's earned the starting spot, if I'm being honest. So from there, whatever happens after that, he has to go earn it. And then from there, we could kind of figure out what the...
Now, did you all hear what Shedeur's response was after he was prank called? Okay, do you know how unsettling that had to be? Because you're excited, you're on the edge of your seat, you're waiting to get the call, you didn't go through the first round, and then you get a call and it's a prank. And he simply says, we've all done foolish things. He didn't go off, he didn't talk trash, he didn't do any of that. But this is the same young man that they say is too arrogant, that they say needs to be humbled. He is humble. And if they weren't such haters, they'd know that. But let's continue.
On field stuff gonna look like.
He knows that,
and he understands.
Like, I think people think that he's coming here with some entitlement thing, like the job is mine. No, he'll go get the donuts on Tuesday morning, like all the rookies do.
Correct. Correct. And that's what I think. That's what's misunderstood about it.
Yeah.
Because the world has been so in his life for so long, and they've been a part of it. They feel like they know him, but man, trust me, out on the cameras, man, it's something totally different. Like, because what they've been portraying. I've never seen a guy this young be as sharp as he is here and outgoing as he is. I'm talking about the work schedule that he has. Most people couldn't keep up.
Right.
He could not keep up.
So he's got, I want everyone to realize, we'd have loved to have him here this morning with us, but he's got to report at noon.
He's reporting
at noon in Berea with all the rookies today. So you have the day off today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You're not allowed to go to cameras in Berea and all. People wondered about that.
Yep.
Right? You do. This is all community stuff you're doing with him.
Correct.
Did you get him a place and stuff? Is he comfortable now? Is he like a place to live and everything? Is he?
We've been working on places for him and for myself, but also right now the team has him put up where they have
I get that. Are you here now with us for good?
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with you, Shell Bay. I agree with you saying Boogie don't need to give up too much of the game to these people. The one guy looking for any type of flaw. Exactly. And I definitely don't think that he should have told them how he purposely comes to these places early to ingratiate himself with the community so that they'll be behind him. See, I already knew that, and I'm sure you all did too, but he should not have told that to them, okay? And all this stuff that they're asking about Shedeur is just none of their damn business as far as I'm concerned. But let's continue.
Yes, sir. I'm in and out. Yep,
welcome.
Thank you.
By the way, you come on the show anytime you want.
Yes,
Boogie.
sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Boogie.
It's an open invitation. Go ahead, Aaron. I'm sorry.
I just wanted to, all this video, we see Shedeur running up a hill somewhere. We see.
Now, I'm not going to keep interrupting, but let me just say, this guy that's talking now in the green shirt, he's the one that was talking all the slick greasy stuff, saying, oh, he's trying to show everybody that he's doing the right thing. Okay, please pay attention.
Him, then he's at John Marshall. Are you capturing all of this, or are fans capturing it and sharing it online?
Both. So for me, I capture it for my vault. I've always, for one thing with Shedeur, I think the misconception with him was he always got these camera crews around this, that, and other. I got one cell phone. I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to do anything. So when I capture it, I just have to put it out there.
Sure.
I can't edit it.
Why do you want to, or why does he want to do that?
He doesn't want to do anything. He doesn't like, he don't want it. For me, and what Coach Prime has always put with us was we always had cameras around for his protection.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was the misconception, that we always wanted to protect him because we know that he was always in the light, and some people would always tell their side. And we've got videos of this over the years of people telling their side, and it made him look like he was horrible. Then we got our other cameras who we captured, and we go tell the whole story. Then people are like, oh, I see why he said what he said.
Why do you think they were doing that? Why? Because he's just an easy target, because he's Prime's kid, or because he's good? All three. Above?
All three. Very easy target. Coach Prime, some people don't like the way he operates, which is, fair. We don't say whether you do or don't, that's on you.
Doesn't matter.
And he's played and he's backed it up. I would like to think he's backed it up, because for me, it's like, I'm a very fair person, man. Hammer, like when all the stuff went on, like I don't care what people feel about you, say about you. This is one thing I know. I come in this place, I see this beautiful place. You had to do a lot of things right to get in the seat you're getting in.
You too.
So for me, I always have to respect your work. I don't know what you've done, but I know in my mind, my common sense, that he's done a lot of things right to get here.
I don't know how he got that seat either, to be honest.
Mostly just, like Shedeur. It's all nepotism.
well, either way, it worked. It got you here.
Right.
So I have to respect it. So for me, with Shedeur, it's the same thing. Like, I just want people, man, just respect the body at work, whether you like him or not. And if he plays bad, he's not above criticism.
Sure.
And by the way, what I intended was no disrespect.
Well, hold on. Let's fill everybody in. Chris, take me back to what night was
this? This was back on May 1st, a week ago.
A week ago on May 1st. Okay. What did you tweet out? What did Aaron say?
I didn't tweet out anything.
Okay. It was, I have the audio clip of what he said what Aaron said on the air.
Okay, let's hear what he said.
I would have preferred that if he was going to go talk to a bunch of high school kids, they didn't post it on social media 5 seconds after the thing was over.
Browns do it every time on Tuesdays. Every charity thing they do on Tuesdays, the player day off, they do a video of it.
I felt like it was him screaming, "See, look how good a person I am. I went to a school, then I worked out, then I, like I'm doing all the right things."
Well, Aaron, then I want you to blast every rookie this year that goes to visit a sick kid in a hospital later this
He's
season.
not every rookie, and the Browns are the ones that are posting that stuff, not the individual players.
Okay, and then what did Boog say? Boog's response was on what? Social?
On Twitter.
On Twitter.
X,
and what did you say, basically?
Basically,
Shut up, Hammer.
Like,
no, in not so many words.
Isn't that what he said? I don't.
Basically, along the lines of, man, first I thank you for having his back. And Hammer, I'm like, man, let me point you in the direction of where he's been doing this a long time. This is not PR work. I'm not the PR guy. This isn't.
So you're saying, again, he did it at Jackson State, he did it at Colorado, and he's doing it here. It's his brand.
Like, why are we changing? Like,
so there's a lot of people that have a problem with brand today. The way some of the young kids have their brand and their, I know, but somehow Joe Burrow can go to the Met Gala and nobody says a word. And I don't know that, I think it's selective sometimes. I do, as to all the criticism and all the beef.
And I will add, I mean, there are two things I think at play there. One is that Joe Burrow, has taken his team to the Super Bowl, obviously, and accomplished a lot. But number two,
well, wait a minute, we went to the Pop-Tart Bowl.
This is just me speaking.
What was our bowl game? Colorado's bowl game. I'm sorry.
In my opinion,
I think taking Colorado to a bowl game is equivalent to taking some team to the Super Bowl. To be honest,
I mean, in the college football playoff conversation, I also, Boog, think it's fair to say that race plays a little bit of a role in that. Whose brand it's okay. It's okay for them to develop a brand and who's not. I will tell you, I remember Baker and Johnny Manziel coming here. Okay. And those were guys that wanted to build their brands, and Baker doing commercials and Johnny floating around on a swan. And to me, I saw them promote being celebrities before they were quarterbacks. So where I sit, I'm predisposed to say, get off the internet until you throw a touchdown pass. Right. And if you're going to go visit some kids, that's cool. Now, am I an idiot? And I thought that he brought the cameras and who posted all that stuff. Those are details, admittedly, that I got wrong.
Fair enough.
But I also think that there is something to be said for, at this point, after he got so humbled in the draft process, putting some of that stuff aside and waiting until he has earned the opportunity to get out there and play and show it before you start worrying about a dollar sign and a promote and getting involved in so many.
First of all, who the hell does he think he is to be dictating what Shedeur does next and when he does whatever? First of all, he's not worried about dollar signs, okay? Shedeur's already made $20 million. See, that's what he doesn't know. That's what he doesn't know. Shedeur has already made over $20 million on his brand. So this man is nothing but a hater who hates. Okay, I'm going to let him say a few more words, and then I'm going to go to something else because really, quite frankly, I'm tired of it. And here's the thing. At the end of the discussion, the guy in the green gives Boogie Knight a meal voucher, like a gift certificate for some restaurant where they sell corned beef. I'm sorry, has any black person ever in history eaten corned beef? I don't think so. But anyway, with that, unless that was the only thing they had, but please pay attention. And then he gives him the gift certificate and basically tells him, don't take the cameras with you or something like that. He's just a hater. I want y'all to pay attention, okay? I want you all to pay attention. And Star Child said, jealous of the generational wealth. Exactly. And then talking about he doesn't need to be worried about money. Baby, he ain't worried about money. Okay, they already got money. What is he talking about?
Any of these brand things, whether it's Louis Vuitton, a social post, all that stuff.
And that's a great point. And I understand everything that you're saying, because when these guys, you got a team that you want to put on your back every Sunday, you want your quarterback to be focused. I get that. But for in his defenses, this is nothing different than he's already done his entire life. So for me, I'm saying, why change now?
I don't. The way that it's perceived by the fans and the way that he's intending it are two totally.
No, He means the way it's perceived by the haters, not the way it's perceived by the fans, because we don't see it like that. It's the way it's perceived by the damn haters. That's what that is. Okay, please pay attention. Listen, this man has a whole lot of patience, and I'm telling you, the Sanders are so graceful and so humble and such wonderful people with such good spirits, because, baby, if this was me and my sons, I would be going ham right about now. But let me continue.
Some fans.
Yeah,
Let me clarify. Some
yeah,
fans.
Chris, thank you.
Fair.
Some.
I mean,
Because the way you perceive and the way I perceive are two totally different things.
We ran polls. Okay, I come out before the draft, way before the draft. I say, I want this kid. He's an overcomer. I know he can play. I just know it. And I can see it. I don't care about the elite skills or the thing. He's the perfect guy for. See, Boogie, I want you to understand, man, this town, they ain't had a good quarterback since Bernie Kosar in the 80s. Okay, we had one kid go to a Pro Bowl one year and we won 10 games in 07. That's it. We've been searching for 40 years for the quarterback. So it's a hard job.
Yes.
Like you can't just roll in here and you the criticism, the scrutiny,
and a lot of the guys have been style over substance.
They haven't been able to play. Your guy's fighting that before he even steps on the field. I want you to explain that to him because it's not his fault.
Yeah.
But that is just where we're at. They talk about New York. I get it. There's a big spotlight in New York. For you to be the Browns quarterback, it's the hardest job in Cleveland. Well, besides my job. But it's the hardest job in Cleveland. I want you to know that.
Correct.
So it comes with all of this. We already saw.
Listen, let me tell you something. It's very obvious to see that they're haters because here's the thing. Shedeur got to Cleveland before anybody else got there. He started training before anybody else got there. He went and visited the people at John Marshall High School. So what is the problem? You see, that is something that you would think they would consider a good thing. That he got here early. This young man is trying to show up and show out. He's already here before anybody, even though he's a 5th round pick. But he's already here putting in work. No, he didn't say that. He said, why is he here? And he's gone to the high school and he's having them to record it and post it on social media. And he's worried about money. That's what he said, because that's how haters think. Okay, that's how haters think. They don't want to give you credit for the good you do. They just want to sit back and wait and watch and see what they can find so they can try to paint a narrative.
This. Unfortunately, Johnny Manziel and Deshaun Watson affect how people think about Shedeur.
Bingo.
And it's not fair. I hate it. Bernie Kosar actually said this about your guy. He goes, Tony, that's a positive that he knows how to handle the media and the scrutiny already before you come here. Most kids coming out of college at 22 years old, you don't know nothing from nothing. You're going to some town, all of a sudden somebody on Twitter says you suck.
Bingo.
You know, you got to deal. He is primed for this. He knows. Boogie, explain to everybody, the kid knows what he's up against, doesn't he?
Very much knows. That's what I'm saying. Everybody attacks him. He hasn't said a word since the draft. And everybody I'm recording.
Now I want you all to marinate on that for a second. He said everybody's attacking him and he hasn't said one word since the draft. That's right. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't said anything negative. He hasn't gone off on anybody. He hasn't said anything. Only thing that young man has said is that he wants to play football. When they told him, when Boogie Knight, because Boogie Knight got upset when they took his number 2. And he was talking about it. He said Shedeur told him, they can give me number 99. I just want to play football. Okay. So, and then the guy that at the station that said he already got humbled after the draft. No, he didn't. You can't humble somebody that's already humble. Okay, that's what you can't do.
And I'm doing these different things, and when you walk into a building, there's literally 30, 40 phones in his face everywhere he goes.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. It's love. And not one time has he said, "Nah, that's enough." He sits there. He takes every picture. He takes every video until he's finished, and then he leaves. So for him, and you saying, race might play a certain play, and I don't necessarily like to go that far. Maybe it do, maybe it don't. But at the end of the day, we can't change what's in front of us. We can only learn to deal with and operate how we choose to operate. So for him to build the brand, I think it's a lot different from other people because he's actually had success building the brand. Whether he was intentional about it or not, his brand is booming. That's the reason why he's able to make so much. Like when he slid in the draft, and just to be honest, he was already over 20 million since January. because of the brand that he built. It wasn't
20 million what?
Dollars.
Dollars.
Oh, and just off his name.
Oh, okay.
Going into the draft.
Yeah.
Before draft night started, he was up. So for that, this is not about money with him.
Right.
Like, he wants the opportunity to go show that this is what I do, this is what I love.
Yeah.
And when I come into a situation, I just want to have a fair shake at this thing, man. Like, so I get the scrutiny, I get all that comes with it, but I don't respond to it.
Yeah.
And everybody's saying like he hasn't said a word.
No.
He's just going out about his daily life, doing the right things as he's always done.
It is such a complicated time to try to be famous, in America in 2025. I want Shedeur Sanders to be, I would know, Riz. I want Shedeur Sanders to be the franchise quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. And where I was concerned this was going, and I'm still concerned it is going, is for him to be that brand that you're wearing on the sweatshirt and not the Browns logo that we want him to represent for the next 15 or 20 years.
What's that chain, man? I like it.
Who in the hell cares what he wants? And who in the hell is he again, besides some fool working at a radio station? Like, dude, you don't get to dictate the narrative of his life. And as if Shedeur has to bow down and kiss the ring and do what they want him to do. Are y'all listening to this bullshit? I'm sorry. Let me not curse. I'm just really getting annoyed here. Okay? Please pay attention, honey.
Get that right.
Oh,
What is that?
This is Travis Hunter logo.
Those are diamonds, right?
T&H, yes, sir.
You tell T I want one of those.
Okay.
Nice.
By the way, we wouldn't have minded him coming to Cleveland.
Yeah.
too.
Hold on, Aaron. I want you to rip Travis Hunter for having a logo already, please. That's your cue. He has a logo. Rip Travis Hunter.
But nobody's mad at.
Let me tell you all something too. I want you to pay attention because I noticed everything. You see how the other guy started immediately talking about Boogie Knight's necklace after the other hater said something about Shedeur's brand, okay, and him wanting him to be the brand for the Cleveland Browns for the next 15 to 20 years. He did that to deflect, to throw him off of what the other guy said, because he knows that is obvious jealousy and envy. So he wanted to take the focus off of that and bring it back to something else. So he brings up his chain. No. Don't even try it, because he's just straight up hating. And I'm glad that the guy pointed out that Travis has a logo also. Excuse me, Travis has a logo also. Okay, how come he didn't say anything about that? Please make it all make sense.
Travis,
we did want Travis too. We wanted them both. Is what we wanted. And I thought. What did you guys think?
And coming into the draft, we said they're both going, because we seen where things were going with Shedeur already. We didn't think it was going to go that far.
Yeah.
But
you hold on, wait a minute. Don't you guys sense the slide coming?
Yeah. Before the draft, I have a text in my phone saying, "Hey man, forget how this turns out tonight. You're built for whatever."
Wow. Okay, so you knew, but you didn't know fifth round.
No.
But you just thought first round. You knew he wasn't going to go in the top 20.
Now, here's the thing. Do you know why they already knew that he wasn't going to go early in the draft? Because they already knew that they were hating. Okay, so they already knew that Shedeur was going to slide. Okay, please pay attention. And he said he got a text or whatever because the person that texted him already knew too. They likely had the inside scoop. Okay, so please pay attention, honey. And that's why he told him he's built for it.
Shedeur knew he was going to be in for this.
Yeah, we were prepared for whatever.
And is the things that have been said about the way he handled the pre-draft process fair or not?
I think it's unfair because I think they're only telling one side of it.
They said, and I don't know if it was I apologize if it wasn't, allegedly the Giants gave him some thing to look at and he didn't look at it or whatever. I don't know. You saw what people were saying with all of that. Did that happen?
At the combine, he had meetings with them. I wasn't in there, but I do know that they say Coach Dabo has a thing for putting things just wrong just to try to trip you up. And whatever happened with that, I'm not sure because I wasn't in there.
Okay.
But I do know that the side they're not telling is that they still scheduled a private workout with him leading up to the draft, and they came back to Boulder. And I know he absolutely murdered the board work, killed it. No matter what they tried to own it. Went out there on the field that same day, no incompletions.
Right.
Through it. And then word is he's the best quarterback in this draft, but some people might be scared of him.
Well, how about the Browns? They ain't scared of him. No.
And that's exactly what it was. Some people said that he was the best, but they were scared of him, okay? He's competition for some of them at the end of the day. And let's not just act like they're not just such haters, okay? And the Giants didn't tell the whole story. You see, they got mad because he didn't say that Tom Brady was his mentor or that Tom Brady was his role model. They got upset about that. And then they put out that story. Oh, well, he didn't find the things that we put in the, in the test that we gave him. He didn't pick out the things that were wrong, the inaccurate things. No, that's not what happened. We know why y'all are really mad. We know why you really didn't want to draft him. Okay, please pay attention.
They already drafted a quarterback, and they realized in the 5th round, you got to take him.
Man, Mr. Barrett stood on the table. Shout out to him, man. The relationship that they built and the things that they felt great about it. Because at some point, I think Shedeur already wrapped his mind around being in Cleveland. Because again, we thought him and Travis both would come to Cleveland. I'm just being honest.
Could have played like that. It actually could have played. The Browns could have stayed. They got capital for next year, but they could have played it.
If the Jags hadn't come in with such a monster offer,
they felt like they couldn't pass up that deal.
And I'm glad they did, because Trav, where he's at now, I think it was actually
he likes it down there.
He loves it.
Yeah,
loves it. He's close to back home.
Yeah,
and he could fish every day.
Oh man, I love that too. God, I'd love to do that. I wanted to get him up here with the.
Let me tell you all something too. The Cleveland Browns picked Shedeur in the 5th round, but they picked Dillon Gabriel, who is nowhere near as good as Shedeur. I'm sorry, it's true. Now, Dillon's good, but he's not as good as Shedeur, and that's just a fact. So one would say, well, why did they pick him 3rd round? I think that they picked Dillon in the 3rd round for leverage so that they can trade him later. Okay, that's just what I think. Remember that I said it when they trade his behind, because that's what they're going to do.
The walleye. Fishing for walleye, good fish, man. And you eat it, you can eat it, but it's feisty.
What times of the year is that?
Now, you can get perch, you can get it pretty much all year, long as the lake ain't frozen.
Yeah.
But the
okay, I'm done listening to them, because at this point they're just trying to brown nose and trying to get in good and all of that. And this shortly after is when he gives him a $50 coupon or gift card to go get a meal for corned beef. Okay, please pay attention, audience. It's all crazy. He's going to give this man who works for Dion Sanders a $50 gift certificate, and then give him instructions telling him that when you go to the restaurant, make sure you don't take the camera crews with you. Sit the hell down. And then, they gave him a list of restaurants for them to go eat at. Okay? As if we like the same foods that they like. Sit down some darn where, honey, at the end of the day. But now let's go to the last clip. And this is of Coach Prime responding to Brian DeBall, the Giants, allegedly saying Shedeur Sanders was unprepared. I have not watched this. I literally just saw it as I'm sitting here listening to this. Okay, so with that all being said, I'm going to share the screen. And I want to hear what Coach Prime has to say.
Dion Sanders or Coach Prime has officially responded. As you guys know, it's been a little bit of chirping in the media world about, the Giants seemingly being the team that has some things to say about Shedeur Sanders coming unprepared. The Brian Dable guy, he haven't really confirmed or denied, but that's been chirping there. They say where there's smoke, there's fire. But the one thing about Coach Prime, he gonna tell the truth, and he really spoke out in this regard, or he responded in this regard of Ahmadiyyah. It was pretty much these guys breaking down in which way they was saying the things that was alleged about Shedeur Sanders. One thing we know, ever since he's been in Cleveland, he's been watching his tablet. He's been working hard. And Coach Prime pretty much alluded to some things in that regard. You guys hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe. Turn that post notification bell on to all. If you guys are excited to see Shedeur Sanders this season, hit the like button. We're going to jump into it. Now, the Giants went a different direction. They went with Jackson Dart. And, hey, for whatever it's worth, what is meant for Shedeur will be for Shedeur. But this guy, Brian Dable, seemed like he had a lot of things to say about Shedeur Sanders. They called him unprepared. That's what's been alleged. One thing we know about Shedeur Sanders, when it comes to that film, he's always prepared. The brother has done some great things, everywhere he went. But either way, I'm going to get into this audio on what was said before I get to the Coach Prime.
Sanders was reportedly pissed at the Giants during his private pre-draft visit. They give players an install, and there are mistakes intentionally put in the install. He didn't catch them and got called out. He was pissed they did that to him. Some teams say they had him as a third-day option. Normally, Joe, what they do with the quarterback, they're bringing in the quarterback. They'll send plays and look, okay, here's the plays we want you to break them down, want you to diagram. Now, Ocho, the plays long now. So they tell the quarterback this. They show it to him on the board. Then it goes dark and say, okay, go draw the play on the board. And they want you to regurgitate what you told them. Because as a quarterback, you have to have great recall. The Giants sent him plays to install, intentionally put mistakes in. He didn't catch the mistakes. They told him, he got upset, they didn't tell him.
These interviews, there are a lot of people, Unc, that play the game of football that can go into these meetings and these interviews and ace them. And you turn on the film, they sorry than the motherfucker.
You're right.
We know what you get with Shedeur when he plays the game of football on Sunday. I know what I get on the field. Why even play this game? What game are we playing? What are you proving by purposely putting mistakes in there?
Why play these games? Why put the mistakes in there?
So you guys can hear that right there was what was said before Coach Prime ultimately ended up coming in responding about Brian Dable allegedly doing these things to Shedeur Sanders. And what they alleged that Shedeur Sanders basically didn't like it, things of that sort. You guys can see Coach Prime said it never happened, my brother. And like I said before, Coach Prime pretty much came right under that comment section, and that's what he had to say in that regard. You guys can see many of the other Colorado faithfuls. You guys can see they pretty much said it was a fabricated story as well, and these are lies. And Coach Prime said it never happened, my brother. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section below, as it seems like Coach Prime has now officially spoke out in that regard or responded.
Okay, so y'all heard it. Dion said that it was a lie, just like we already knew. They just flat out lied. Okay, they're really mad because he didn't say that Tom Brady was his role model. Point blank period. You see, this is all about a power struggle, beloveds. That's what this is. This is all about a power struggle. It's about the white man keeping his foot on the neck of the black man and telling the black man what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. And don't you dare listen to anyone else, even your own father. You're going to listen to us because this is who you work for on the NFL plantation. Okay, please pay attention. That's how that goes. All right, that's how that goes. And Dion is not lying. Okay, he's not lying. They made it all up. Like Michael Jackson said, they made it all up. They lied. Okay? Please pay attention, but hold on. Hold on. Let me go to something real quick. Oh, and by the way, just for you all, FYI, Rondé Barber, okay, who is a player, who was a former player for the Tampa Buccaneers. Okay, Rondé Barber was even hating on Shiloh. Yeah, he was hating on Shiloh. He basically said on his podcast that he basically accused him of nepotism. He said that if his last name wasn't Sanders, we wouldn't even be talking about him. Said he wasn't that good. Went in on him. But you know what's funny is if you check his stats, Shiloh, I'm not going to say he's the best, but he is damn good. And specifically considering that the young man broke his forearm in 2024 and had to have surgery on it. And he previously had shoulder surgery. Okay, so I'm sorry for him to still be excelling after that. How can you say he's not that good? See, even some of the black folk are hating on these people because Rondé Barber, you're absolutely a black man and you should be ashamed of yourself. And even if that's what you really thought and felt in your heart, honey, you could have kept that to yourself. That's what you could have done. When you seen that all these other people who don't look like you are going in on a young black man and going in on his entire family, all because they're so envious of his father, you could have kept that tidbit of information to yourself. You were in the NFL for 16 years. Okay, I do believe. And at the end of the day, he's considered a legend by many because he played for so long. But the bottom line is, you know how the NFL gets down. And by that, I mean the people who don't look like you. You know how they do. So that's why you should have kept your damn mouth shut. Now I'm thinking you're just one of those uncles that we love to talk about. Okay? Please pay attention. I mean, the hate is real. And, you know, here's the thing. Let me tell you all this. This whole thing they have going on against Shedeur has really only made his popularity soar, because there are people who have not even been that interested in football who will now be watching every game that Shedeur plays in. And you can best believe that. There are people who are not that interested in football who are going to be buying Shedeur's merch. You can best believe that. So at the end of the day, all they have done is really elevated him. Okay, and he is going to show them and prove them wrong. And before we close out, I want to read you all this poem that reminds me of exactly what they have going on here. Our deepest fear, okay? Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking so that other people won't feel unsure around you. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Okay, so Shedeur needs to repeat that. And at the end of the day, remember that his light is always supposed to shine. And all of these haters throwing shade are only doing so because they know that he's shining. Okay, and they're so afraid that he's going to outshine them. All right, Tom Brady is also concerned that Shedeur might even become a bigger legend than he ever has been. Okay, please pay attention. With that all being said, I love you all to life. I hope you enjoyed the broadcast. Enjoy the rest of this evening. Enjoy your strong end, not the weekend, leaving you in a weakened state of mind. And until next time, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me?